Right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. This is YTL's 21st Century Time and Effort tutorial. So these are our new virtual timesheets, and we're just going to go over the basics and key things to be aware of as we fill them out. So first would be making sure your identifiable information is in the right place. First spot would be around cell A2, so please ensure your name is right here, as well as scrolling down in rows 32 to 35 in this sheet, making sure your name and name through position, all of these are filled out correctly. And of course, these are just placeholders. The way you would name sheets are based on the biweekly cycle. So as y'all know, we get paid biweekly. We operate on biweekly cycles. So I have this sheet named 9/16 to 9/27 because that's the first Monday of this week, and it's the last Friday of this second week right here. So if you ever get thrown off when you have to make a new sheet, that's just something to keep in mind. The first Friday and the last. So if I had this as 9:30 to 10:10, I know I would need to adjust it by one day because October 11th is that last Friday. A good rule of thumb will be ordering your sheets from your earliest time sheet to your latest. So as y'all see, I have the earliest ones further to the right and the latest ones over here. Reason being, as we add time sheets, as we continue working, is right here. If I had it in the reverse order, I would have to keep scrolling and scrolling the more time sheets I accumulate. So it'll just save you time on the back end. And again, looking at this same section, these are all the payroll time frames you should have listed so far. I do want to note that these right here are new additions to our time frames, 8/19 to 9/30 and 9/2 to 9/13. So we initially started going from this time frame right here that I have circled, but due to adjustments to our budget, we were able to add these two time frames. So please ensure you have these added, and I'll be meeting with everyone individually to ensure that the time and effort for that time frame is caught up. One thing to be aware of on here, there are some formulas in this Google Sheet. So please make sure your time is formatted correctly. In other words, I mean use the colon. So if I just type in 600 for 6 o'clock, it's gonna throw off this because this is a formula. If I type in just 6, it'll do the same thing. So please always ensure you use the colon, and boom, it'll correct itself. Now, if your colon is right, everything is good, and your hours are still off, then that's an issue that's on me, and I'll make sure to go back and correct all inaccurate formulas or layouts. Now, the cells you should and shouldn't touch. The main things to fill out would, of course, be updating the weeks as you go. And then aside from that, you would just do start and stop. You would initial as you go, and time and effort. That's pretty much it. Don't touch the gross hours column because again, that's a formula, so we want to keep that in place. So again, start and stop, employee initials, and time and effort. Those are the main sections that you'll be filling out. One key thing to be aware of is making sure you adjust cells so all the words are captured, so everything is readable. So on here, I'll just do this for example, really quick. So whenever I submit this for reimbursement, the grantee, they will not get the editable version. They'll get the PDF or they'll be looking at a printed copy. So it's really important for them to see everything that's in the time and effort description box. The one easy way to do this, if you just highlight all of cell F, you hit the letter F at the top, you can go to this text wrapping icon and you hit the logo that has a wrap, the one with the backwards arrow. You click that and it'll do it all at once. Another way to do that will be doing them individually. So let me undo that. I could also click the cell that I wanted and I would hit the same action. So that's pretty much straightforward. If you need to duplicate or delete a sheet, here's how you would do so. You could right click or hit the down arrow on a sheet. And I'll use this one for example. You could hit the down arrow or again right click and you hit duplicate. We'll be doing this when it's time to start a new timesheet. So all you would do is after it's duplicated, you would just clear out the start and stop sections and time and effort. I would leave the employee initials because you're going to do that anyway, so it will save you time on the back end. And then of course you'll just remove the initials as needed. And then again, please make sure you update your weeks once you make a copy. If you want to delete, it would be the same action. You would right click or hit this down arrow, and then you would hit delete. So let's say I don't need this one anymore. I hit delete, and it asks me, am I sure? Next key thing is making sure your time and effort is sufficient. So I have an example here: sufficient time and effort in green, and time and effort that's not sufficient in red. Good rule of thumb is just 3 to 5 sentences that covers the gist of what you did, with details when possible. So gave out snacks, helped with the homework, cleaned up. Yes, you did that, but for the grant again, and just for checks and balances, we want to make sure we have details right here. So again, nothing crazy, no dissertation, but again, details. So 3 to 5 basic sentences, please. One rule of thumb I use is if I might get backed up or I'm behind, I use like rough draft or talking points for me to go in and flesh out later. So I might type something like this, just as a placeholder, and then when I actually draft it for sufficient time and effort, I may say something like, gave snack to scholars in 3-5 area, conducted math homework with scholars in 3-5, led SEL activity in the field about body boundaries and mindfulness, performed space reset of my area for an event this weekend, and then supervised scholars at the end of the day for dismissal. Let's say you do the same thing or a lot of things are repetitive. It's okay if you copy and paste your time and effort as long as it's accurate. And if you ever do anything beyond what you've copied and pasted, you just add that to the text as necessary. So one thing I wasn't clear about when I initially sent these timesheets to everyone was making duplicate sheets and making copies of sheets. So many of us, we have a separate sheet for every time frame, and this is what I mean by that. All of these tabs are on the same sheet. It's on this template. But if we switch over, and again, this is another mock template. Let's say I only have 916 and 927 over here. I would need to get all of this on my main sheet, my comprehensive sheet, so everything is in one place. So what I would do is I will go to the column I need. Let me clear this out so we can start the example. I'll go here. I'll copy and paste only the sections that I need, and it's important to note which sections and cells you highlight because you'll have to paste into those exact cells later, so that way the formula and the format are still in order. So you highlight all of that and copy. You could Control C or Command C, or you could right click and hit copy, and you will go back to where you need it. All right, I'm sorry, this is the correct one. So you go to mock template. I'm on mock template. This is like my fake separate sheet. Then I go back to my main template, which is the comprehensive one, and I make sure I paste over all of this. And if you notice, it just adjusted. So that's one way, an easy way to save time as we're consolidating all our sheets and all our time and efforts. And again, I'll be available to walk through that as well. So let's say there's a week you didn't work at all. Documentation is still required, even if you work 0 hours. Now, of course, the time and effort description isn't needed, but you make the sheet anyway, and then you just clear out the start and stop time. So for this example, I put out all week due to Hurricane Helene. And of course, you would just sign it, at the time of signing. So you would still need to initial by everything that has a number beside it, however. So even 0 hours. Next would be some common job duties to describe for time and effort that you don't recall. I'll have those in the description of the video. They include things like being a pickup or drop-off route driver, taking temperature, facilitating enrichment clubs, supervising scholars at the end of the day. Just the basic things, because again, as we go back to these earlier time frames right here, it may not it may not be easy to recollect what you did. So we can always look at the basic job descriptions. We can look at past emails, orientation agendas, the group me, whatever the case may be, so we could get that filled out correctly. Next thing I would like to highlight is the military time on here. This is a personal habit of mine. You do not have to use military time. You can feel free to use this. If this is ever throwing you off or is giving you a headache, just let me know and we can switch it back. But again, you do not have to use the military time. That's totally up to your discretion. Right here, I have a note highlighted on this person's section. I adjusted their start time from 1:40 to 2 p.m. Y'all, please never clock in early without having a conversation with me beforehand, just so we're on the same page about everything. And again, you'll sign these bi-weekly along with your supervisor. So the cursive signatures down here, they're just placeholders. This will be blank, and when I print it, we will both sign it. Your supervisor and, again, yourself. The admin notes section, again, that's only for me, so always pay attention to this side in case I leave a comment for you. It might be some praise, it might be a piece of feedback or something we need to adjust or just, be aware of. And just going forward, time and effort, it'll now be due at the end of every week going forward. And then that following Monday, I'll be checking everyone's time and effort, just reviewing the prior week and, again, making those comments as needed in the admin notes section. So this concludes the training or the tutorial. Appreciate your time. Just feel free to contact me anytime if you need support, whether it's in person or virtually. I'm more than open to having a session. Here's my contact info on the screen, and have a good day.